Hey guys, welcome to the Formless Guide. Today, we're going to cover the topic of sacred geometry, our place for infinite possibilities. Today, I want to put you in the state of mind of an atom. And let's begin. An atom has a center nucleus, right? So, here we have our center. And this center for this diagram represents the conscious being, that is you. And within this diagram, now we have F and M. These are not only letters, but signaling the different energies from within. The masculine energy, the feminine energy. The masculine energy providing that structure and stability for oneself. The feminine energy that explores, that's curious, that learns and understands. And now, within this nucleus, we have charges. And these charges are electrons. They perceive negative. These are here. We have the protons, the positivity in life, the positive outcomes, or the future positive outcomes, right here. And then we have the neutrons. This is represented as X in this diagram. Why? Because neutrons have a possibility for either positive or negative charge, or just a neutral charge. From there, you can make change start to occur. Now, how does this change begin? Where do you even come from? This start begins within unconsciousness. This is the representation of unconsciousness. It's a mini triangle. It's a beginning, a formation of structure that we all develop as we experience life. And this can be categorized by the id or shadow self. This is the parts of ourselves that made this structure. But this structure, it was not entirely for you. It was a reaction that you had. Now, from here, what do you do? When the awakening begins, this is where Ida and Pingala come into play. This is the natural masculine and feminine energies that we spoke about, and it transits through the subconscious, otherwise known as Bhavanga, the stream of consciousness. And as it goes up, now we begin to approach the center. And this happens because while we're approaching, layers are being seen, layers are being approached, layers are being felt and understood. Then we reach the center, which I like to call here the ego. And within the chakra systems, we use the third chakra for a representation of ego's identity. This is often where we place most, if not all, of our structure in ego. And sometimes this ego, even though it was meant to protect you, it can hinder you. How do you even begin to see beyond this ego? You begin by yet again following this stream of consciousness. It dwells within us all. However, it tends to go unnoticed. This is why we practice first the geometry. This is why we have the little triangle. As is shown here, there's a center, there's a little triangle, and this is the first triangle. This is the first acknowledgement of approach in life. Sometimes we become fearful in life. This is where this triangle comes into play. The opposing one. The opposing one is something that we're looking towards, something that we're striving towards. This will tend to lie here, within this triangle that's shown. In religions, in spiritual traditions, some of them tend to negate this triangle, this part of themselves, by seeing it as a separate identity. when it is one and the same with the entire being. Because if this source, if this center has infinite possibilities, don't you think it has the ability to grasp not only that, but see the truth of all that is you? This is you at hand. And how does this develop? By first beginning to understand change is your source. Change is a happening, and change cannot be forced or undone. Change is a constant in this consciousness. And this is where we put this spiral of consciousness. This is the grid that we represent here, where it also is called infinity or a spiral, because you now become totally involved and willing to absorb all that comes with life, all the perceived bad, all the perceived negative, all the perceived nothing. Sometimes we become bored with our lives. Sometimes we become exhausted with our lives. This is not a negative thing. It's the grounds for change to occur. And this is how you get there. This is a map. Not only that, a visual representation of who you truly are. This is how complex, yet clear, and beautiful your mind is. This is all of you. Now, as you go along to perceive these geometric triangles, to see them grow, it takes time. And sometimes it takes compassion, if not most times. Sometimes we may be hindering our change, but not necessarily due to a lack of compassion. It can be due to fear, it can be to self doubt, it can be due to self esteem. All these different factors hinder change. But this is how much you can grow. This is your consciousness. This is your formless guide. Signing off.